this is Jo from Cranberry here. Welcome to our first Beadalong of 2025. On my bead mat here, this is what we're going to be making. Well, I haven't finished mine yet, but it's a component-based bracelet, and I've started 2 different colorways, and by now I already know that it's going to be a great Beadalong. So I am going to show you how to make one of the components and look at joining it to the next one. Now, this Beadalong is going to be a little bit different. As I was creating these components, I decided that it would be really fun, you could say, to have a color challenge built into this Beadalong. Now, I grabbed a couple of tubes of Super Duo mixes to get me started with this, and I will show you each of the mixes, but you don't have to use a Super Duo mix. But my main challenge for you, and we will be providing more details in our customer Facebook group about the rules of the challenge, okay? But essentially, I want you to take this pattern. You can either buy a mix Super Duo tube, or you can use your own colors and mix up everything. And I just want to see your best color combinations that you create to make this bracelet. I am going to put this one aside for now because we are going to be working on this colorway, and even though it's got an overall cohesive look, you can see when you take a closer look that the Super Duos have been used in different placements. Okay, now this is the Raku mix of Super Duos, and let me get a pointing implement. There are green ones here, then blue, then green, and then there's actually a red one on the end. And they've all got the Picasso finish on them. Okay, hence the name, the Raku. On this next component, I've used the red Super Duos in the middle, and then the greeny ones, and then a pop of yellow, because that is in the mix as well. And then I've used blue on the end. Now, have I used all of the colours in the Super Duo? I think I probably have, actually. There's some slightly duller blue ones and some slightly brighter ones, but you can pick through, and it's quite easy to pick out the colours you want because they're a big enough bead to do that easily. So as well as the Super Duos, you need some size 11s. Now, the instructions say to use 2 colours of size 11s, but I really didn't like how the placement was. So that's a design choice that you're going to have to make. As well as that, you can say it a bit easier when I take my hands away. So there's some joining beads, and they suggest a 6mm fire polish and 4mm fire polished. So you can see those 4mm, 6, 6 and 4 to join. And apart from that, you need some 4mm rounds, and there are 9 of them per component, 8 around the edge and 1 in the middle. And there's a couple of places where you need a few 15s, but hardly anything. They are just, where are they? Here. There's a 15 there. So probably anything in your stash you can use for those. I wouldn't call the 15s a design feature especially. So there we are. That's the overview of the motifs, and they're probably sort of maybe 2.5 centimeters. So do keep that in mind when you're sizing, but just go ahead and just start making some. It's not until it gets near enough the size for you that you have to worry about the sizing so much. And there we have it. Lots of color ideas and arrangements are possible using the Super Duo mixes, or if you want to choose your own Super Duos. I'll show you this other colorway I have been working on. This is the Pinot Noir color mix. Looks quite dark in the tube, but I've certainly lightened it up by using plenty of silver with it. So in that mix there are I think it's a Bordeaux and a Burgundy. There's some black ones and there's some red ones, and I think there's even some blue ones which I haven't used. So the mixes are always really interesting to look at once you pour them out and sort through them. But overall that's the colour effect you're going to get, and what you put with it really affects the way it looks. Oh, and I've used some, I don't know if they were magenta pearls there, and then again some far polished to join them. I think that was just amethyst fire polish. Okay, so go crazy with your best colour combinations, and we're just going to be having a little bit of a mini challenge with this beadalong. Okay, so let's get started, and I will take you through how to make one of these components. I have about a metre of thread strung up. Probably might not need quite that much, but if you've got some left over you can use it for joining the components. Now we start with 8 super duos in the middle, and I think I'm going to use blue, and there are some shinier blue and some less shiny blue, so I'm going to pick out the shiny ones. 8. Going to tie that into a circle. Your tail only needs to be long enough to weave in later. We don't need that for anything else. So once that is done, I just go through a couple more beads in the circle. So that it looks like this. Then we are going to put the middle bead in, a 4mm round, and we are going to weave across to the opposite side, find the super duo on the opposite and go through that hole, and we're going to go back through the 4mm round, and back into the super duo on the other side in the opposite direction, so it centers it nicely. And that is our initial starting round with our round in the middle. Now we are going to add a seed bead. Actually, what we are going to do is we are going to step up, and you can either step up going this way or this way. I think the pattern shows you going in the same direction. We're going to add 1 seed bead between one set of super duos, and then we're going to add 2 super duos, and I'm going to choose the green, okay, because there's quite a bit of green in this mix, and I want the green to be sort of one of the prominent colours as I go round. So repeat this sequence all the way around. 2 super duos, 1 size 11. And there we have our next round completed. And you want to go into next super duo and then step up going forward into the next super duo in front of you into the top hole. Okay. Now this next round we are putting one super duo between the super duos and some more seed beads on top of the seed bead. So it's another choice for colour. Of course, you could just do them in all one colour, but it's good to have some choices. I am going to use red, I think. So one super duo there, and then these 11s, we're adding 2 and going through the 11 on the previous row, and then 2 and then going up to this super duo. Pick up another red super duo. Repeat all of the way around. And we are back at the beginning, and I don't want to confuse you, but I'm working the opposite direction to the way the pattern is written, but it all comes out the same in the end. Just do one way or the other. I always find it easier to bead towards myself going clockwise, but apparently that's left-handed way of beading. I never quite understood why. Okay, so we are coming out of this super duo just before the red one. Okay, now we are adding some more 11s around these red super duos. So we're adding 2 either side. And then we come through a super duo and one of the 11s. And then on top of these 11s, we are adding 2 new super duos. So another color choice. I think I'm going back to the green. Yes, green. And we're going into this 11 here. Go through one more super duo. And repeat that all the way around. Now this pattern is by Deborah Hodoyer. Never know if I'm quite saying that correctly. I'm pretty sure we have used her patterns before in a Beadalong. And it's called the Arcosanti Bracelet. Pretty sure that sounds Italian. Arcosanti. Okay, we are nearly back around. Just another couple of super duos to add in, and we need to step up to be coming out these seed beads here, so let's do that now. Through the super duo and these two seed beads. Okay, right, now we are building up the peaks further around here. We are adding 5 size 11s. And going back down into through 2 of these. Yes, that's right. Now, when you add these, I always find they want to look square, but you need to pop that middle bead up so it's got a nice point on it. Okay, so do that as you bead, and then when you pull your thread, it sets the tension quite nicely there. Now we are adding the 4mm beads in this round, and they are going before this next super duo. So they're sitting right there. Now we have one more super duo? Yes. One more super duo to add. And what shall it be? It's interesting how the red seed beads and the red super duos, they really blend in. You can barely see that there's red super duos there. They're really quite hidden. So it creates a different effect. Are we going to add another yellow? Yeah, I think we can use the yellow, because we have already used it in this motif. Depends how many motifs I make. If the next one doesn't have yellow, I might add that one in and then do another one. But so many design decisions. I hope you will have fun making the design decisions. Now we are sort of repeating but going backwards. So we are going from this super duo, pick up a round, going into that last seed bead before the super duo, and repeat. Do you remember what the sequence was? 5 seed beads. Pick a little picot out, pick up the round, and a single super duo, round, and repeat that all of the way round. I'll come back when that's done. So I am at the end and I've got my last 4mm round, so I'm going into the same bead that I would have without these ones already being in place, and then we need to weave round. So continue going through them or do them one by one, and we need to weave round until we're coming out of the next 4mm round. Probably go through not that last bead there as well. So exit the next 4mm round. Now this is where the 15s come in. We're doing a little sort of curly backwards picot here. So we are picking up a 15 and 2 11s, and we are going to the top hole Then we are picking up 5 size 11s, and we are going back through the hole to sort of create a loop around that one. And once again, make sure that that is going to sit as like a point. Okay, then we're 2 11s and 15. The 15 is always going to sit next to the round. Okay, go through the round. Then we are weaving through the existing beads until we get to the other side of the next round. And then we are repeating this point here. So it is 15, 2 11s, through the top hole, pick up 5, go back around the hole, make sure it's a nice little peaky shape, 2 11s and a 15 through this 4mm round. Okay, there we are, and we repeat that all of the way round. Now that will finish your motif. The first motif, they say to add a little loop at the end so that you can add a clasp, so you can do that, but essentially you are finished with the motif then. So let me just finish that and show you the finished one. So here we are. This is my last component that I have just made. That's still a bit loose over there, hence the little picots popping back in. So I haven't fully woven that off yet. I am not going to join them together, but the process of joining them together is very easy. The instructions are very clear on doing that. You're really going from point to point with the 4mm, and then from pearl to pearl with the 6mm. All very easy to do in the instructions, because I might space this out and do another component with not yellow in it. Okay, so that is the essence of what we're making, and the focus is color challenge. What color will you do? We have got lots of Super Duo mixes, and you can choose one of those and see what you create with it, or you can make up your own colorways. Okay. Now I will make a note on sizing. The instructions show the bracelet made with 5 components, and I'll just show this here. This is what it looks like in the instructions, and this is for a 16.5 centimeter wrist, or 6.5. Now that is quite small. Okay, I've got this bracelet here that I know fits me quite well, and what I've done is put this for measuring, and I've got this one here and this one here, and you can see I will need 6, and I would say I'm sort of a medium size wrist. So if you have a bigger wrist, you might even need 7 components, but I'm pretty sure still one Super Duo mix will, let me empty out the whole lot. 1, 2, 3. I might have to let you know. I will do a count on the rest of the beads in this tube and let you know how many components can be made from it. A quick update about the number of beads in the Super Duo mix tube. So after I'd finished doing that, I sorted out the Super Duos into groups, because you need sort of 8 of 1, 8 of 1, 8 of 1, 4 of 1, 4 of 1. So you can see here I've got my 3 made pieces on the left, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more piles of laid out colour schemes that I can use, and I've got 4 laid out piles of beads in the colour schemes that I can use, and the pile on the top right, those are all the leftover beads, so that's out of 1 tube. So you will be able to get 7 little squares out of 1 tube of Super Duo mix. But I would sort them out into groups. It's fine to make a couple, but you wouldn't want to be left with, like, for instance, all of the yellow ones left over or something like that. I've made yellow more of a supporting colour and the green is more of the focus, so I wanted to make sure I had green in all of them. So do go through your Super Duo mix and do a bit of planning before you start. But 1 tube will be enough for nearly every wrist size. So that's it. Look for the newsletters, look for the information in our Facebook group on the details of the colour challenge, and I can't wait to see what colours you come up with. Okay, you can already see how different these are from these. You can do so much with colour. I can't wait to see what you make. Thank you.